I'm Captain Logan.
I'm Eric.
And welcome back to Geekvolution After Dark. And Eric and I, for a minute, I couldn't remember the name of the show that we're shooting because we shoot so many different shows. Look, we have the Halloween lighting again because it's our Halloween theme show for After Dark. We've never really done a theme show, and today all of our topics...
Did we do one for, like, Christmas last year?
Where everything was Christmas related?
Where we had, like, Christmas topics?
I don't think that's true. Okay. I mean, we did Christmas stuff on Omnibus, but I don't think we did it for After Dark.
Okay.
I don't think. I could be wrong about that. But anyway, so today we're going to do horror and Halloween-related topics. Excited to get into this. This was Eric's idea. Hope it goes well. I had a harder time coming up with topics this time than I do sometimes, so hopefully this isn't lame, but like, I'm not a big horror guy. I mean, I love Halloween. Mm-hmm. Maybe not for the same reason other people do sometimes. Mm-hmm. But B, we just did a whole horror-themed omnibus. Mm-hmm. So, like, I'm not even horrored out. Like, I've gotten addicted to Walking Dead. Mm-hmm. I can't stop looking at it. The only reason I've stopped, I'm like midway through season 2. And I know it's supposed to get bad. Everybody's telling me that. Everybody's like, no, Cap, don't get addicted. It gets terrible. I'm like, I get that. But, the only reason I've even... But like, I'm going to watch it until I don't like it anymore. The only reason that I've stopped is because Daredevil Season 3 came out. Mm-hmm. And I'm happy to report that I'm also addicted to that, which is the first time I've felt that way about a Netflix Marvel thing in a long time, so that's exciting. And maybe is going to be one of the last of those we get.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that.
Could be the last one.
It could be. Yeah, I mean, I think Jessica Jones is like real, like hip deep in the middle of putting season 3 together. So.
But Luke Cage was halfway written.
Right, but I think they might be close to shooting. Okay. Or maybe they are shooting. I'm honestly not sure.
I think that they can pull the plug at any point before they start shooting.
I think you're absolutely right about that. But if they've already started shooting, they might not stop. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't think they've started shooting because we haven't heard that, but.
That whole thing is really interesting. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of people are really upset about Luke Cage, and to some degree I am too, because you and I like 2 a lot more than a lot of other people did. Mm-hmm. But it is going to be nice not to have to watch one of those every 3 months, I think. Especially if they're so hit and miss. I mean, look, if they were brilliant every time, whatever. Yeah. But I'm happy to report 8 episodes into Daredevil Season 3. It's got me. I mean, it's quite good.
Oh, you're 8 in?
I have, yeah, I'm 8 in. Nice. I can't stop looking at it. It's so good. I've been watching it all day.
That's good.
It is, I've got a couple reservations about it. A couple of things that could make sense later that I'm not sure about right now, where I'm not sure if I'm waiting for a reveal or if it really is just kind of not there. I'm just kind of waiting. Okay. But nothing that would ruin it, even if it's a problem.
Sure.
So, no, it's so wonderful. I can't wait to talk about it. Anyway, as you can tell, I have been drinking a tad, because that's a thing that we do before we make Geekvolution After Dark, because it's After Dark. So we got the booze, and we got the potential swearing, we got all those things, and tonight we even have plush Jason and plush Freddy. Not to be confused with my children who look nothing like this and are not plushies. They are real, actual children! And these are not real, actual serial killers. But, you know, these are really cute serial killers. I wish they had a Michael. I wish they had him. They didn't have a Michael. Or if they did, he was sold out. He was the one everybody bought.
Because Halloween's out right now.
Yeah, but I don't think they had one. But it's Funko, and they have, I'm sure, that license, because they have fucking everything. Yeah. I forgot until a second ago that we can swear on the show. Yeah? Do you ever do that, where you're just like, oh yeah, that's right. That's right, we can...
But sometimes I do notice, I'm like, oh, I'm not swearing as much.
Anyway, well, Eric, you want to get right into it?
Sure.
Should we do some topics?
Sure. I have less a topic and more just a joke that's going to make you uncomfortable. That's my first thing.
Okay. I'll get in the uncomfortable position.
Sure. Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
What did the lesbian vampire say to the other lesbian vampire?
Lesbian vampires. I don't know.
I'll see you in a month.
Oh, that does make me uncomfortable.
Not my joke. That's Ryan Reynolds, corporately owned by Disney now. That's Ryan Reynolds in Blade Trinity. So you know, and there's no way David Goyer wrote that fucking joke. Like he improvised that. That's a thing that was swimming around in Ryan Reynolds' head.
There's no way. I mean, I bet 50 to 60% of the dialogue he has in that he came up with.
I would agree with that.
There's no way David Goyer could
write Deadpool.
That character that well, apart from everybody else. Like nobody else sounds like that.
Yep.
And I don't think anybody else has their own distinct voice as much as that character does.
Nope. No.
Well, what's funny is I've seen that movie.
That joke sticks with me.
But I don't remember that joke. I've only seen it the one time. I watched it one time for the rewind. I wrote the rewind. I never saw it again.
That's not true.
Well, okay, that's true. I watched it. I watched it with you, but we must have talked over that part. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. I mean, like obviously, I watched all the.
That's a joke that sticks with me for some reason. Like years later, I remember that joke.
Did you bring it up when we watched the movie? Probably
not. Maybe I might have been like, I like this joke, or I always remember this joke, or something, but probably not. No, yeah. Corporate property of Disney, Ryan Reynolds, made that joke.
That is an uncomfortable joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even want to say if I think it's funny or not.
Also the reason no, it's hilarious. Also the reason I suggested this show was I was like, I should tell this joke in the audience or on After Dark to make Cap uncomfortable.
Was that the only reason?
That's the only reason I wanted to make that joke.
It's really fun.
I didn't have any other topics or ideas. I wanted to make that joke.
We put the green lights back in. We made sure it kept this up, all just so that Eric could quote one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds is really fun in that movie.
No, he's really fun in that movie. And you had to have that shitty movie before you got Deadpool, so it's probably worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you don't love that movie or anything, but like,
yeah,
it was probably worth it.
Yeah. It could have just been the Hamill King movie. Like, he's playing the exact same character.
Oh, man.
That character breaks the fourth wall.
I'm spilling shit on myself. I'm a mess
in
today,
a way
Eric.
that breaks the universe in my head. Because he has a copy of Tomb of Dracula, and he slams it down on the table. He's like, Dracula's not anything like... And I'm like, Blade's in that comic. So are you. So, she's not. You invented her, but like, what is inside those pages? In your universe, what's inside those pages?
Yeah, it works in something like Logan because it's about characters that exist and they all know that.
And they're not real comics.
Right, that too.
Yeah.
Even if they were, it would be okay, though.
Yeah. It's actually more weird that it's not. Anyways, so what's your first topic?
Yeah, are none of the covers they show?
No, they're all fake.
Are they all fake?
They're all fake.
That is weird. They make them look pretty authentic 70s, though.
Yeah. I don't know why it's not just 70s covers, whatever.
That was your whole topic?
That was my whole topic.
That's amazing. I love that. But it's not hard for us to go on for quite a while about, like...
Oh, you didn't even stop the clock.
No, I'm gonna pay attention to the clock. I'm just gonna go 10 minutes from earlier.
Okay.
And then count that as...
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, like, 12:35
yeah, that's
where we are right now. Yeah.
Sure.
That's how out of it I am. I completely forgot to even start the clock. Eric, what would you say, being the more than horror fan you are than me? I don't know. Can I go you off horror fan? Would you say you're a fan of horror? You have some horror stuff. Like, would you call yourself a horror fan?
Yeah.
Because I can't get Vince to say he's a horror fan, and I think that's bullshit. I think he's a horror fan.
No, Vince is obviously a horror fan.
He won't say it. He won't say it. I think that's weird.
I'm complicated.
This is not the question, but I want to ask you that.
I'm complicated. I am certainly a monster fan. And I enjoy horror movies. I enjoy the over-the-top violence and things like that. But I'm also not like a dyed-in-the-wool. I don't go to a lot of horror movies. I'm like, well, they all suck now, so there's no point. And I know people that still go. It's like, well, it's horror. Like I'm gonna go see it. Yeah, it sucks, but I don't have that. I'm a horror fan to some degree. I'm a fan of certain types of horror more than others.
Yeah, like everything's kind of relative, right? Like next to me, you look like a diehard horror fan.
Sure. I'm a more old school horror fan, I guess, really. I'm a retro horror fan.
I don't even know if you're as much of a horror fan as your current girlfriend is.
I'm not at all.
Probably not.
She has more movies than I have, and most of those are horror movies.
Most of them are horror films, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you told me she has a lot of horror T-shirts and.
Oh no, she's a huge horror fan. Far more so than me.
Yeah.
And she will try anything if it's a horror movie.
It was interesting watching a horror film with her because we went to Halloween with her, and she just got giddy about like kills and stuff. It was like it was interesting to watch her.
Yeah, no, it was fun.
Eric, my question is, what do you think?
It's nice to have someone else to laugh at kills with.
Right? Yeah, no, that's really cool.
I really enjoy that.
No, I'm very happy for you. That seems like a perfect fit. Like, I'm giddy for Eric. I'm as giddy as she was watching a guy get his head stepped on.
That was a really funny kill.
She laughed so hard at that.
It was a really funny kill.
I like your girlfriend. Anyway, I like Eric's girlfriend. She's pretty cool. Eric, what for you is the best medium for the horror genre?
It's films.
Is it?
It's absolutely.
Straight up?
Well,
I thought you might say comics.
No.
No.
I've never been scared by a horror comic.
Interesting.
I mean, I guess prose is also a contender.
With Poe and...
You know, I'm not a Poe guy.
You're not a Poe guy?
I haven't touched Poe since I was a teenager. I didn't like Poe as a teenager. I should probably reevaluate.
Like, I know you like Cthulhu and things like that.
I like Lovecraft.
Yeah.
I like Stephen King. And I mean, horror works better in short stories than it does in novels, I think, in the same way...
Could not agree with you more.
In the same way that I think horror anthology TV shows like Tales from the Crypt are infinitely better than most horror movies.
But I think
horror just works better shorter, I think.
And I haven't had a lot of experience with this, but I think that somebody like Stephen King can make horror, can make the scares last by making you care about people.
Yeah. But I think film... I think horror was built for film. I think horror is at its root a visual thing. Because before we have film, we're doing horror stage plays too. We've always been obsessed with seeing things that scare us.
That's fair. Me personally, I have been more creeped out and fearful of ideas in prose than I have on screen. I think prose is better for horror for me personally.
Sure.
Like, I've been grossed out more watching things on screen.
I've been made more uncomfortable. Well, I can be made more uncomfortable by prose and be more comfortable with it than I am at film. Like we always talk about, like, you can... It's worse if it's in your head. You can imagine anything, right? I don't actually think that's true. Like, I've read things that really gross me out that I would never want to see on film. Like, it would be worse if I saw it, if I physically saw it. That's more gross out stuff than it is, like, actually, like, scaring me, but, like, makes me uncomfortable. Crooked Little Vein is a lot of that. I don't want to see the Crooked Little Vein movie. Like, it would make me uncomfortable.
The reason I think that's true, this is going to sound like a cop-out answer. The reason I think that can be true, at least for somebody like me, is if something is gross enough, I will turn my head. And if I have to read
away from it
in prose, I can't get away from it. I mean, I can skip the line, I guess, but I might skip so far that I don't know what's going on. I still have to look at it. Like, it's harder to get away from it, and then you're imagining it.
Sure. No, that makes sense.
And so I think that is a thing that prose has up on movies.
But
I have taken the easy way out too many times with horror films, and I realized this about myself recently because we had to watch so many things for the Omnibus. There are a lot of gross things in movies that I end up not actually experiencing because I just decide not to. I just turn my head.
And you can't do that in prose.
And it's like a gut reaction now.
That makes sense.
So there's a lot of stuff in society that I really cringed at, but I didn't watch all of it.
Yeah, and I did because it was hilarious. But also, like, film gives you a thing that prose can't, which is you're afraid but the characters aren't yet. And I think that's very important. Like, you're watching the looming figure move towards the person and they don't even know.
That's fair. Sure.
There's a lot of stuff like that where it's like you can't have it when it's not.
Yeah, because from the perspective of the protagonist, you know if they're there or not.
Mm-hmm.
Or you know, or rather, like you know what that protagonist is. Well, but to be fair, you also build suspense by not knowing.
That's true. No, that's true too.
Prose can build massive suspense.
It's also easy to kill people.
I go around a corner and maybe he's there, maybe he's not, and there might be a gun there, and there might be an I don't know.
Mm-hmm. But it's also easy to kill people in film because in prose, like, your point of view character would either be the person getting killed or the killer. Whereas in movies, you can kind of just keep jumping.
We can jump heads, so you don't necessarily know.
No, that's true.
If the person that you're following is going to die or not.
That's true. No, it's one of those two. It's either prose or film.
And to be fair, like, me personally...
I don't think stage is scary. I think we were in a real innocent time when stage was scary.
That might be true.
Because, like, people that have, like, horror stories about seeing, like, the Dracula stage play, like, I can't imagine that. I can't imagine being scared.
Yeah.
Unless they're coming out in the audience and asking for audience assistance, and I'm terrified. Because I do not want to be picked for that.
It is very difficult to put yourself back in a time, because we didn't exist yet. Like, it's hard to have that kind of historical perspective to imagine a time when people were so not desensitized that just someone in a costume they were fearful of, and they didn't completely understand that it was a costume.
Well, even just those original films, like you go back to Dracula and you go back to Frankenstein, like, they're not scary. But, like,
sure,
people lost their minds.
That's right.
Dracula, very famously, I don't know if it's actually in the normal cut of that movie, but there's an opening to that movie when it was originally played. I can't remember if it's actually in the film or not, where the guy who plays Van Helsing comes out, and he's like, just like, everything in this movie is fictitious, like, that's and, like, people couldn't deal with it. And there's no blood in that movie. In Dracula, there's no blood. I don't think you even see fangs. Like,
yeah, I think it was just ideas would scare people because everybody read, and so they were that's how you scared people.
So I would say for me, visually, is the optimum scariest medium.
Yeah,
not just film, but like obviously like television and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I also wouldn't say comics.
No, it's not comics. It's never going to be comics for me.
But I don't think that's a bad medium for it. Obviously, there's great horror.
There's plenty great horror. There's a Japanese artist named Junji Ito, who's probably the closest to... It's not fear, but like it's an uncomfortable where I'm like, that's weird. I don't know about that there. That's a... Yeah. Certainly, I can have that with comics, but... there's a distance with that.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of comics in the way that I can be of film and prose.
I mean, I've also been made uncomfortable with comics, and, like, you can build suspense in panels and things, but you almost have too much control over pacing in a comic book. I mean, I've talked about this a lot, but, even prose, like, you can skim, but you don't have the same control over pacing that you have jumping between comic panels.
And I also think with a lot of horror stuff in comics, and this might just be me, but like I'm thinking about the artistry of it. Well, like I literally have that with a film. Like if I'm engrossed in like someone's stalking someone or something, and I'm like, oh no, like there's.
But you're rarely so sucked into the comic book that you're not thinking about the medium.
Yeah, because I'm seeing like if it's like a 9-panel grid and just it's like someone walking like towards someone for like 9 panels, like that's really impressive and like maybe like really visceral. But I'm never not seeing that there are 9 panels on.
You're almost enjoying it academically more than.
Yeah, Walking Dead is that. Like nothing Walking Dead scares me. No, but some things that surprise me.
Certainly be emotionally invested.
Yeah, obviously, but it doesn't scare me.
Yeah, I don't have that either.
I don't turn the page and like there's a zombie biting something and be like, oh man.
I also don't feel like that's a book that's trying to scare you necessarily. Most of the time.
Not in the obvious ways.
Yeah.
It's a more existential.
It can try to freak you out. Yeah, or intellectual.
Yeah.
Eric, what is your next topic, sir?
So, I've been seeing this a lot with the new Halloween movie, where people are like, oh, they started over again, like it's third timeline, like why are we doing this? Fourth timeline. Why are we doing this? Like that's the... Let's stop fucking bullshit. There's no integrity with horror movies. Certainly not horror franchises. Let's not pretend that this is art and like, oh, they keep restarting it. Like, of course they fucking are. They kept making them. It already doesn't have integrity. They made past 1. Like, let's stop pretending, right? Like,
now it's not fair to say that there's no integrity if you make a sequel to something.
No. But
you're saying the sequels they made.
Yeah,
clearly with Halloween, there's no.
Like,
well, even too, a lot of people would argue you lost the integrity because of. What a lot of people think is the bullshit.
Yeah, the twist and the
twist with he's her brother now. And
yeah, but Like, it's weird to me to see people be like, oh, they had to restart it again. I'm like, of course they had to restart. What are they going to do? Pick up from Resurrection? Pick up from 6? Like...
You're stuck with all of that?
Yeah.
And the thing is, if it's already broken, and this is... I know I go to this all the time. This is what I want to see with Spawn. Just a straight-up reboot, or maybe, say, like, the first 50 issues or whatever happened, right? Because...
Do you want the first 50 issues?
If you have... Or 20,
Cygor's still
or,
coming, I think, at that point.
Right, and then he finally gets there, and it's awesome! It's amazing! No, here, I think Cygor might still be on his way right now, honestly. That could have been a delusion, we don't know. That's one of my favorite things in Spawn comics. I'm just looking at my watch, waiting for Cygor to show up. No, I think the litmus test is... Are we using the word continuity in the first place in air quotes? I think that's right.
Yeah.
I think that's
they
the
all
litmus
kind of soft
test.
reboot from the one before it anyways.
With Halloween especially, if every movie says, you know that last scene didn't exactly happen the way you remember it.
Yeah.
Or it didn't mean what you thought it was. If we reinterpret every time, you might as well scratch everything that you can't easily deal with or doesn't fit your vision, minus the first movie. So that you can actually tell a story.
Yeah, it's just... Now, I recently watched the Red Letter Media review for Halloween, and Jay does this funny thing where he talks about, like, how everything we've sold this movie on is bullshit. Where he's like, it's the first time John Carpenter's been involved with a Halloween movie since the first one. Except for 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And it's the first time Jamie Lee Curtis has ever come back for a Halloween one. Except for 2, 6, and 7. Or 7 and 8.
Well, I don't know if anybody said ever, but it's been a long time, right? Like...
Yeah. I mean, I always thought that Jamie Lee Curtis thing was kind of bullshit, where people were acting like, "Oh my God, she came back." I'm like, "Yeah, she came back last time." I
wasn't sure. Like my dad was. I'm not to throw my dad on the bus, but my dad never goes to the theater. Mm-hmm. He sent me a message last week. I don't think he went, but he was like, "I'm thinking about going to Halloween on Friday. I love Jamie Lee Curtis. It's such a big deal she came back." I'm like, "Is it though?"
But she did 20 years ago.
Yeah. And 17 or 18 years ago when Resurrection came out.
Yeah, yeah.
That doesn't feel like a get to me.
No.
Like, it's maybe cool that you're doing it. Like, the bigger deal, because there's all kinds of reasons my dad could have said, I want to go see that movie. It's a bigger deal of, we're going to go back to the drawing board, and we're going to try to do it right, finally. And we're going to make him what he was in the first movie, because he was never exactly that character again. And we're going to be pure about it, and I have issues with that movie. I think it's got kind of a dull ending. If their big mission statement was recreate what he was, they did that.
Yeah, he's scary again for the first time since the first film, and
they did that. I mean, like it's true to that material, sure.
And it's, but like I feel like this happens a lot with horror movies, where like people are like, oh, they're rebooting this, or like, oh, they're making another one of these. I'm like, there's 15 already. How is it like? First of all, they're all exploitation. They're all exploitation films in the first place. Like, how is it exploitation? Like, oh man, they're making Friday the 13th Part 11. Oh man, they're scraping the bottom of the barrel.
It's against the integrity of the franchise. No, there wasn't integrity to your franchise.
Jason already went to space and hell. Like, there is no.
Yeah. The next thing to do with that character clearly is to lead a Jamaican bobsled team.
Like people that like rolled their eyes like Freddy fought Jason, where they're like, oh well, now it's just getting silly. Like, I just lighten the fuck up.
No,
like,
I completely agree.
It's dumb. It's all dumb.
But if anything, this movie was attempting to bring back a little bit of class.
Yeah,
and I think it did that.
Yeah,
like however you feel about that ending and some of the choices they made. It's classier than anything they've made since one.
Absolutely it is.
If you can be that kind of a movie, and if that's the right word, but
yeah.
It's as classy as it could be.
Yeah, it's more artistic than anything that they've
absolutely
made since the first one.
No, and I'll go back to it just because there's certain shots and scenes and things I'd like to see again.
Yeah,
and also, you said lighten up. The movie's pretty light.
The movie is pretty light. It has fun with itself. It's not
like it's not pretentious. It's making a big deal out of, look, we're going back to what it was, and it's not as pretentious as the people you're talking about.
No, I recently watched this documentary that just showed up on YouTube. I want to say at one point I tried to torrent it. I'm not sure if I should say that, but at one point I tried to torrent it. It didn't it didn't like there were no cedars, right? Like I just couldn't torrent it. It's a history of horror films, and
it's on the main channel. It's fine.
There's a history of horror films, and it's by Mark Gatiss, who he's doing a fucking Dracula thing, and I'm excited about that.
Who's Mark Gatiss?
He's an actor, but more importantly, he's a writer. He co-writes Sherlock, and he wrote a couple episodes of Doctor Who and Doctor Who novel. And,
cool.
But he's also an actor. He plays Mycraft in Sherlock.
Oh, okay.
He also played Dracula on the Big Finish audio adaptation of Dracula.
Is that good?
It is. It's quite good. But like he had this whole big thing where he was like, it's the role I've wanted to play my entire life. I always want to play Dracula. Like, now you're making a Dracula show. Are you going to be Dracula? Because that'd be cool. Like, I don't have a problem with that. Anyways, so I was watching this documentary. This does a 3-part documentary about basically what he thinks are the 3 kind of most important areas of horror, which just kind of end in like 1982. Like he's like, and then there's no more horror worth watching.
So he didn't talk about the one you made me watch.
No. But so he there's a point where he's interviewing George Romero, and George Romero talks about the sense of humor of Dawn of the Dead, and he's like, and Night of the Living Dead to a certain extent too, where he's like, there should always be a little bit of comedy, especially like right before the kills and things like that. It's almost a wink to the audience of like, we're all having fun here. And then John Carpenter brings it up, where he's like, yeah, I think I agree with George Romero, that you should always have a little bit of satire. You should always have a little bit you're not just there to make the audience feel bad. You want to let them know, look, we're having fun and you're having fun too. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I feel about horror, and that's what's missing, and the new Halloween has some of that. It feels more like that.
We're, like, part of the reason we enjoy horror is to embrace a dark side that we all have, that we can't embrace by doing horrible things to people, because A, it's illegal, and B, it's wrong, and so we need that outlet. And when you make, like, I'm not saying that things can't be bleak and dire, but maybe sometimes there is kind of a responsibility to peel the curtain back just enough to say, like, we know we're making a fiction.
Yeah. And we're not trying to...
It's not a cynical exercise.
We're not being moral degenerates or something, right? Like we're all having a good time here. And that's why you make we're having a good time.
And that's why you make it so heightened.
Yeah.
That's not to say that you can't make a horror film or just a psychological thriller or whatever it is that's like about like dregs of society, but then that's not about having fun. Then that's about
a different thing.
Showing. Yeah, like a side of humanity that's horrifying and putting in front of us and going, this is a thing that we have to deal with. This exists.
Well, and then
that's like Apocalypse Now, where it's like, that's not supposed to be a fun movie. We're not supposed to enjoy ourselves. No. There's a reason for that to exist, and it's wonderful. But I'll never watch it again.
Sure.
Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Yeah. It's you now, right? Because that was we kind of got off topic, but yeah.
But that was great conversation.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. Eric, answer this if you want to. Answer this if you want to. What is, that you can recall, the scariest situation you personally have ever been in? Like a near-death experience, or just a place where you weren't sure if you were safe, or just like, what's the... That you'd be willing to talk about on camera. What's just like the scariest situation that you personally have been in?
Have I ever told you the thing? Have I ever told you the thing about being in an ex's mom's house and we thought it was haunted? Have I ever told you about that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Is this actually the scariest thing, or is it just an amusing story?
It's both.
It's up there? Okay.
Yeah. So,
cool. Because I didn't know if this question was too personal for camera, but...
Once some kids pulled a knife on me, like, I guess that was pretty scary. But so anyways, so we go over. At this point, I'm living with some friends, and we don't really want to be like at the house with friends, like. And her mom is away, so like there's this whole house that's just there and it's open. And her mom doesn't actually want us to be there, and like she comes up with some kind of like bullshit excuse to get like the code for like to get in the house or whatever. We're just gonna stay at the house for the weekend because her mom's not gonna be there. And she's talking about like. it's like bad vibes in the house, and she never liked living here, and she's pretty sure the house is like haunted or whatever. I'm like, yeah, whatever, fucking whatever. Right, like whatever.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, okay, whatever vibes. And we're there, and it's like 1 or 2 in the morning, and there's this incredibly loud noise, like almost like a thunderclap, but like louder. And we can't place it. Like, we think, did something fall down? Is somebody in the house? Like, just losing it. Like I do the guy thing, right? Like, I go around, I open the doors, I'm looking, I'm not finding anything. And she's like, I told you it's haunted, and I'm like, you might be right.
I'm sorry, you might have said this. How old were you?
20?
Okay.
19,
Okay.
20. It's like 2 in the morning. We're in the house that we're not supposed to be in. Wow. We just heard a really loud noise. And
you've had, like, adventures and shit.
Well, and part of it's also that we're worried that, like, neighbors are going to come over and, like, find out we were in the house or whatever, right? Like yeah. We're just a real height, and, like, people can't know we're here, and, like, something might be here, and, like,
wow.
So we're like, let's just fucking go. And we leave, and we go home, and when I get home, I turn on my laptop, and I just have this message from a friend. He's like, man, did you hear the space shuttle re-entering? It caused a sonic boom.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's what it was?
That's what it was.
And you thought it was in the haunted house. What you didn't realize is that everyone around you experienced the exact same thing. It was like an earthquake.
Yep. That's exactly what it was.
That's a great story.
It's a pretty good story.
That's a good story. I don't have a story that good. It's a good story. I was racking my brain trying to think of a really good one. Do you ever have this where you're like, I know I've had near-death experiences. I cannot remember them.
Another one, I guess...
I'm sure bad things have happened to me, but I can't remember them.
Another one is once my friends and I spun out on the side of the highway. It was one of those things where, like, I was getting over, and, like, somebody sped up, and my car at the time, as with most of my vehicles, was like a piece of shit. And and, like, I overcorrected, and, like, it didn't do well with that, so, like, we went off the highway, and we were spinning. And I talked to someone else who had a similar experience, and they're like, yeah, we just screamed the whole time. I was like, we were silent. Like, we just accepted our fate. We were just spinning, and just no one said anything.
Wow.
And then we stopped. My friend Cody said, let's do that again.
Wow.
And we got back on the road, and we went about our day.
I've had a couple times where I had such little visibility I thought I was going to get in a rag. I mean, I've been in a couple of rags, but they weren't, like, death-defying or anything. One time, and this is a thing where I wasn't scared what was happening, but later on I was like, oh, holy shit, I could have died. When I was in high school, did I ever tell you this story? When I was in high school, there was a time where I drove to school. This was sophomore year, before I wrecked my car and I didn't get to drive the rest of high school. I probably deserved to get my car wrecked. Now, the guy in the black Saturn did not deserve to have his car run into when I totaled my car. But I've not been in a wreck since then, and I've not gotten a ticket since the year after high school. But back then, I was not the safest driver, and I was and I wasn't like reckless. I was just nervous. Like, I wasn't great behind the wheel. So anyway, I was going to school one day, and I was like dead tired. I was barely awake, and it had frozen over. It was in the winter, and I barely scraped my windshield, and I could not see at all on the way to school. Like, nothing, zero visibility. Somehow I got there. I don't even hardly remember it, because it was almost like sleep driving. Like, I woke up seconds before I got in the car, and I was so tired I just drove there. And then I get 5 minutes into my first class, I think it was geography, somebody walks in with a note or calls the intercom or something and says that my car is parked between two cars. I parked in a spot, or no, I'm sorry, like this. I parked between two spots. Somebody parked behind me in a spot, and in front of me in a spot. In the middle is me. That's not a parking place. I should have died.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But you didn't know it until they They radioed?
Huh. I had no idea.
Weird.
I had to go out there and figure out how to maneuver it out of that spot because I was sandwiched between two cars.
Weird.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah. Were they there the whole time? Or did they
No,
pull
I
in
think they
after
pulled
you?
in after. I think one of them... I think what happened was I pulled in behind a car thinking it was a spot, and then a guy pulled in behind me in an actual spot.
Okay.
That was embarrassing. In fact, I think it was after I moved the car when I went, oh, wait a minute, this is also really dangerous. First, I was just really embarrassed by it.
Let's see. What do I have?
Yeah, what's your next topic?
CGI's not scary. It's ruining horror films.
Yeah, I
We need
agree
to
with that.
fucking stop it.
The first place I noticed it most, and I won't even talk about Legion,
Is Legion supposed to be
was...
scary?
Yeah,
Okay.
there are places where it... Because it does the whole, oh my god, it's a scary thing on the ceiling! Wah!
Sure.
Sure. The first place I noticed, though, was I Am Legion. So there's Legion, which has shitty CG, and then there's I Am Legion, which also has that. Just put the vampires in fucking makeup.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
I mean...
And I loved the first act of that movie otherwise, but, like, just those aren't scary.
I Am Legion or I Am Legend?
I Am Legend. I Am Legend is the name of the film. I was talking about Legion,
Yes.
and then I thought I made a correlation, but it wasn't a correlation, and it's late, and I've been drinking.
I mean,
anyway,
I have this a lot with it.
I Am Legend.
It's my biggest criticism in our video for the new It is that it's not fucking scary.
Yep.
Because immediately he's just got like computer face, and like that's not scary. I also think CGI has removed, and I think horror movies have this more than a lot of other genres, except for maybe science fiction, is the like movie magic thing where you're like, how did they do that?
Yeah.
We're like you
Absolutely.
watch like that scene in the thing where like there's a corpse and he goes to like defibrillate the corpse and the fucking like stomach opens and swallows the man's arms, and like you look at it like, well, it's all one shot. Like, how did they do
It
that?
looked like it happened.
Yeah. It's so visceral. Like we need to go back to puppets and shit for horror because it doesn't work. The CGI thing doesn't work for horror. But I'm also never impressed by the artistry. Where I'm like, how the fuck did they do that? Like, that's really impressive. That's kind of generally scary. Like it looks like that man's hand was like ripped off.
Sometimes this ruins epics. Also, like I don't want to say that's the only place where it's a problem. Like, we're not impressed by the spectacle much of the time anymore with like alien invasion films or natural disaster films or whatever it is. It's not real. But I guess the question I would ask you then is it worse in horror than any other genre, maybe?
I think it's worse.
Yeah,
because
I think you're right.
Because it doesn't feel real. If it doesn't feel real, it can't be scary.
And you know, the ones where I'm...
Unless you're like 12.
The modern movies where the modern movies where I'm actually scared of it, or not scared, but where I'm like impressed with it, are the ones where things are either done practically or I can't tell. Like, I don't want to say never use CG in a horror film, but I don't want to be able to tell that much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well,
I mean, hell,
you can always
Poltergeist
tell
had
certain
some
things.
animation, but
yeah,
it was...
No, there's things like that, obviously, that you would want, but
or
like,
that's the only way you could do it at the time. But like but it doesn't feel gratuitous where it's like, well, we're just being lazy. This is how you do it. And then I feel like people make excuses sometimes for CG where it's like, but you know what it's supposed to be, so just like suspend your
but it's not physical. It's not visceral. Like
disbelief.
Like doing CGI for like ghosts or something is one thing. That's fine. They're not tangible. They're not physical.
Yeah,
but
there's several ways to do
But
that.
if something's gonna like unhinge its jaw and it's gonna come out like fucking Violator and eat a kid, I want to believe that their jaw is there.
Yeah.
And I don't yet. I don't believe their jaw is there at all because it's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like it just. And it's not as much fun. Like, it's fun to see, like, a fucking dummy get, like, torn to pieces, like, there's blood exploding everywhere, right? Because, like, it's not real. Whereas, with CGI, it's just like, yeah, you computer made something, way to go. Like, I I guess in some ways, like, I kind of think of the behind the scenes where, like, this is so much fun. This is, like, someone made this, and, like, someone got sprayed with something, and, like that's part of the fun of society, right? For me, is that, like, they made, like, all of these, like, they fucking made all this shit, and they're like, it's weird, and, like, if that movie was made with CGI, I wouldn't care. It's not fun.
Yeah. Well, and very often, the designs end up looking less, like, creative.
And they're always blander.
Yeah, and it looks like you've seen it in 15 other things. Like, even by I Am Legend, I can't believe I said I Am Legion. I Am Legion! Even by, that's a Ghost Rider quote. Even by I Am Legend, I've already seen that creature, like, 15 times.
Yeah. Well, and the guy who did Abomination.
I think there are examples, and this is not a lot of people's favorite horror movie or anything, and I know Vince doesn't like this movie, but there are examples where CG makes sense, but it's used, like, sparingly. Like it made sense in The Ring. I'm sure that was CG.
Sure.
Where you had, like, you know, a creature coming out of a TV, like, there was probably a little bit of CG used with that. Like,
there's nothing wrong with that. I
kind of get that.
Transitional, maybe,
but
yeah.
It didn't feel like a lazy movie. You also had somebody being trampled by a fucking horse, which was horrifying. Like, it was horsifying.
But yeah, I think CG's become a major problem. Well, and it's even worse for low budget horror at this point because they have low budget CGI.
Do you know how horrified I am that's how they'll do the Chucky remake?
Just make them CG. That is how they're going to do it, I'm sure.
I would stab myself in the jugular.
Well, you'll have a TV show where they won't do that, but I'm sure that Chucky will be CGI.
Am I really going to watch that TV show, though?
It's made by the guy that made the other one.
Well, I know, but do I want that on a regular basis? Like,
well, it's only once a year. You watch like 12 episodes.
Yeah, okay. My brains will be gone.
You'll probably wait for October or whatever to watch it, but...
so Eric's just already planning out my future. He's like, no, you're what? Look, it's the one horror franchise you cared about that I didn't know anything about. You have to fucking watch this show. Okay, Eric, I'll do it.
But yeah, I also think it strangles, like, low-budget horror. Where, like, low-budget horror used to be able to define itself because it had good special effects or something like that. Like Evil Dead's a pretty boring movie. Evil Dead's really impressive for a couple of college students out in the middle of the woods. And a lot of that is the artistic, like Evil Dead 2 is amazing. But, like, Evil Dead 1, like, I think people conflate Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 because, like, they're very similar movies. Right. Evil Dead's fucking boring.
And Evil Dead 2 is not actually a sequel, it's a remake.
No, it's a sequel.
Is it a sequel? I thought it was a remake. I never watched it, so I don't know. I thought that's what people said.
It's kind of a soft reboot sequel where, like, basically what it comes down to is they didn't have the rights for some reason to use the footage from the previous film with the actors in the previous film, so it picks up where the previous film left off. But it's only his girlfriend that died, and she's played by a different actress. But it is a sequel.
So they retcon some stuff.
They retcon some stuff, just to make it simpler, because they didn't have the rights.
Okay.
But the first Evil Dead, like, is really impressive for, like, a couple of college kids. Like, they do some really impressive special effects. And that's the kind of stuff that you can set yourself apart with when you're making a $2 million horror movie or a $500,000 horror movie. Is, like, you can do something really cool. Well, all you have is CGI, you just have cheap CGI.
It's imagination through adversity, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like CGI across all genres, but very specifically in horror, is squelching that. It's very...
If you have too many resources, sometimes you're just like throwing a project together.
Yeah, it'll look good enough.
You're passionately trying to figure out how in the world am I going to put this on camera.
Yeah.
And even with all of the techniques we have these days, it's not like innovation doesn't still happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like we don't see... And I would make the argument, maybe I'm wrong, maybe this is an ignorant thing to say, I would argue that we still, to this day, innovate more often when we're forced to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No.
Minimalism.
No, yeah, the almost only times you ever hear about something like getting created or made is because, like...
We had to figure out a way to do it. We didn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
Or we didn't have enough money or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, how many times do amazing, like new techniques come about because we would have done it this way, but we didn't have the...
But we just had so much money, we decided to do it this way. Like, no one's ever told that story.
Yeah.
And sometimes I am impressed by things where I find out, like, fucking Thor: The Dark World has the truck. It was in the trailer. You remember that where the truck goes up and it like turns?
Vaguely.
Okay, so that's like the opening image of the trailer for Thor: The Dark World. And
I barely even remember recording the Marvel Mania.
And I was I was playing Trinity too. But I was like, yeah, that's kind of cool. They have like they had like a truck and like it looked like a real truck. I was like, that looks really good.
That was all CG.
No.
Model.
No, it was they lifted. They just got like a crane and like lifted a truck and just turned. I'm like, well, yeah, no, of course that's what they did.
Oh, okay.
like obviously, like, but I didn't think that way. Like I was just like they CG'd something, right? And then like I found out, I was like, oh no, they just lifted up a truck and they turned, and then they CG'd out the crane holding the truck, and I was like, okay, cool. Like
that's how Nolan would have done it.
Yeah, that's exactly how Nolan would have done it. But yeah, you have a topic.
I do, Eric.
We
have
like 10 more minutes.
10 more minutes or so. Yeah. This is short. This will be nothing. Do you think of Nightmare Before Christmas as more of a Halloween movie?
It's a Christmas movie.
Or a Christmas movie?
I'm drawing a line in the fucking sand.
Yeah, it's a Christmas movie,
It's a Christmas movie.
Yeah. And not just because it has Christmas in the title.
No,
it's the third act makes it a Christmas movie.
Yeah. No, it's a Christmas movie.
If that movie
Get that shit out of my October.
If that movie didn't... I don't want to go that far. Like, I don't have a problem with some of the iconography, like in things being used, because like all of the Halloween stuff in that movie makes sense for people to want to use around Halloween time.
Visually,
what's weird to me?
I'm talking about the movie.
Yeah, but like, what's weird to me is that we don't merchandise it at Christmas.
We do, don't we?
As much.
I guess not.
I see it all over Halloween. I don't see it nearly as much as.
Yeah, no, it's a Christmas movie, obviously.
And you've got the pop-up Halloween stores that will have Nightmare stuff, and especially this year because it's like the 25th anniversary. You'll have the pop-up Halloween stores that have a whole section for it. When you have pop-up Christmas stores, you don't see it.
No, you're right. You're right.
Or at least I've never seen it.
Well, and I think that's because people are like, oh, it's not like Halloween or Christmas is a very specific thing, right?
That's fair. That's fair. And I mean, the iconography, most of it looks more Halloween-y.
Yeah.
And it's kind of creepy, and it's...
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is... But I certainly think it's more of a Christmas movie.
No, it's definitely a Christmas movie. I don't think there's a debate about this.
Not that I have a problem with people watching it at Halloween or anything.
I do.
But do you?
I do. It's not a Halloween movie.
That, if I get to it, that will be related to my next topic.
It's not a Halloween movie, and it's not fair that movie gets 3 months out of the year.
Oh, it does. You're right. It gets a quarter of the year.
Yeah, fuck that. Fuck that. I mean, allow it. It's a fine film. I'm not disparaging the film.
I've got huge issues with the third act, but
well, yeah, no, it makes no fucking sense.
Yeah,
but I also hate like fucking Nightmare Before Christmas people.
Yeah.
I once saw a Facebook post. So I was like, I love Night Before Christmas. Now you know everything about my personality. I fucking hate those people. Like I'm almost to the point where like just don't tell me. Just don't fucking tell me. We all know. We can tell. You don't have to say that you love Jack Skellington. We all fucking know you like Jack Skellington.
You know what makes Nightmare Before Christmas a really traditional musical?
No.
It's a...
That there's music.
It has a brilliant soundtrack, but the story is all over the place.
Yeah.
Like a lot of great musicals are like, I love this music, but I don't actually know if the story really comes together. That's Nightmare.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. But there's not a bad song in it.
I also feel terribly for the director of that film.
Yeah, because Tim Burton gets all the credit.
And it's called Tim Burton's Night Before Christmas. Tim Burton didn't direct the fucking thing.
No, he didn't.
And then when that guy made Coraline, people are like, oh, Tim Burton made Coraline. I'm like, no, fuck you.
Yeah.
This guy actually has talent and like has actually, done things and yeah.
I mean, Danny Elfman
with his third film.
Danny Elfman doesn't help.
Danny Elfman doesn't help.
Because he's done so many projects with Tim Burton that makes people think that it must be a Tim Burton film, especially because his name's all over it.
I heard the theme for Beetlejuice at work.
Uh-huh.
It's the Tales from the Crypt theme.
Yep.
I was like, oh god, he did it again.
Elfman is kind of like The Offspring.
A notorious thief of his own work.
He wrote like 3 things, and he just keeps recycling them over and over again. And I love The Offspring, and I love Elfman.
That's expected, but rock.
Yeah,
it's not expected when you're like a respected like orchestral composer.
But every major one you know of, they all do it.
Yeah,
they all do it.
Yeah, but a lot of them don't do it till later in their career, where they're kind of like stuck in the... Like, John Williams didn't do it until later. A lot of them don't do it till later.
I mean, you're right. Like well, and I'm sure
we've had this that way.
I'm sure we've had this conversation, but the Darkman soundtrack
is just 89.
Is the 89 soundtrack.
Yeah. No, he starts that way. He rips himself off very quickly. I feel like a lot of other people waited for a while.
Yeah, that's maybe fair. I mean, think about people
then
like
again, but
Sylvester and stuff. Like, yeah, I guess it's kind of later in the career.
Now he still puts out things that are more impressive. The Spider-Man soundtrack doesn't exactly. The Spider-Man score doesn't exactly sound like him. Like you can tell it's him, but like it doesn't feel like anything else specifically he'd done. I think he does Hulk, and that's quite a good score.
Oh yeah, he does do that. But you go to Batman Returns. It's got "Making Christmas" all over it. Making Christmas, that's in there all over it.
Yeah. He does.
Those came out like a year apart, or maybe the same year. I forget. What is Nightmare, like 93? Returns is 92. I forget if Nightmare is 92 or 93.
It's right around.
But they are the two projects he does back to back. I bet.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to say he's talentless because he's not. He's just not as prolific as he wanted to be.
He uses the same themes quite a bit. And, like, you can point to a lot of people that do that.
And his music runs together in a way that I think a lot of other people don't. Like, you can tell John Williams' theme, but, like...
Well, and Williams has a reputation more for ripping off classical music than ripping off himself.
Mm-hmm. Whereas, like... He does, like... It's like Dark Carnival, right? Like, all of his music sounds like carnival music.
That's right.
And, like, it just sounds the same. Like, I don't dislike Danny Elfman. At least I don't dislike him entirely, but, like, he's kind of a joke at this point. Like, when Danny Elfman is, like, signed to a movie, it's like, really? Like, why?
Yeah, because, you know, when you hear... Why can't I think of things? Damn it, begin. Help me out.
Oh, Zimmer.
When you hear Zimmer, so you can sometimes kind of tell it's a Zimmer score. There's like techniques he'll use in multiple movies, but you don't hear like the exact same. Almost an earworm, but he's not real melodic anyway. Mm-hmm. So I guess that helps. Mm-hmm. But like you can sometimes kind of tell it's him, but he's not doing the exact same thing every time, and he goes out of his way to be experimental in a lot of things. And you can tell the movies that he phoned in more than other things. Mm-hmm. And then you get like guys like Giacchino, who are really versatile, but then sometimes if a particular scene or a particular project kind of makes sense to go back to something he's done before, it will sound a little bit like it. Like, Star Trek 09 has the, like, walking up a mountain kind of thing that he does in Lost, where it sounds really similar. Bum ba ba da dum ba ba da dum ba da 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 da. He does that in a couple places, but every Giacchino score does not have that. Mm-hmm. And Elfman scores all have the Elfman thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is your next topic?
What is my next topic?
Mr. Eric.
What do you think is it that we like about being scared in a contained, safe environment?
I almost wrote that down.
Like, why do we... What is it that we like? That we... Like, because it goes to being kids. Like it's deeply rooted. Like, when we're kids, like, we want to watch scary things, right? Like, we want to be scared. And then we do get scared, and, like, we don't necessarily like it, but, like we like the idea of being scared.
Yeah, it's a perverse thing, right? It kind of, like, not... If there's such a thing as, like, wholesome perversity, like the idea is... It's like anything more adult that you... When you're a kid, like, I want to start with that thing. When you're a kid, like, you want to do things that you're not supposed to. Mm-hmm. And being scared intentionally feels like kind of like wrong and not the normal thing to do. And so you're just exploring your feelings. Mm-hmm. You want to know what it feels like. Mm-hmm. And you also want to test your limitations. Mm-hmm. You want to know what you want to try to figure out what you can handle. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a lot of it when you're a kid. I think as you get older, like I was talking about earlier, I think it becomes as much or more about tapping into a part of your psyche where you need a release that you could get by doing terrible things.
I think it's therapeutic.
Yeah, or cathartic.
Cathartic. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Absolutely, it is. Sure.
I'm also curious.
It's like screaming into a pillow or breaking shit on purpose.
I'm also curious about like what makes people scared of like certain things.
Yeah.
Because certain things are obvious, right? Like if you're religious and you're scared of like possession or something like that, like those correlate, right? I can't tell you the number of people that like I know that like or have met where they're like, yeah, I got no problem with like blood and gore and like things like that, but like hauntings terrify me. Like the idea of like ghosts in a home cannot deal with.
Yeah.
I once had a woman come in.
Well, you have your eye thing.
Yeah, it just grosses me out.
Yeah.
But I also don't avoid it.
Well,
I don't stay away from movies because there's eye things.
But let's say with your premise, where does it come from?
Well, I think I know where that comes from.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I'm pretty sure that comes from Terminator. I think I saw Terminator very young, and he sticks the thing in his eye.
Fair enough. I thought that was an arbitrary thing. Like I'm a little bit claustrophobic. I don't know where that comes from. I don't know. I don't know why. It wasn't like when I was a kid I got locked in a closet. I don't know where that comes from.
Well, maybe you did. You just don't remember. Like maybe it was really traumatic, and like you just don't remember. Not even like in a repressed memory kind of way, but like I bet you it does have a root in something.
Well, I was gonna say I won't get into like really personal stuff from my childhood, but I have some repressed memories, so that is entirely possible.
Well, but it doesn't even have to be repressed. Like something could have happened when you were a kid, like it just resonated with you, and you like, but you don't remember it. It just did mess you up.
Yeah.
But no, like I once had a woman come in looking for horror movies for like a party where like there's gonna be kids there, so like it can't be any more than PG-13. I'm like, okay. And she's like, but also it can't be hauntings because those scare me. And I'm like, what do you want? There are no non-PG-13 movies that aren't hauntings. Because hauntings you can do PG-13. That was weird. But like she was like, I don't do those kinds of movies. I'm like, well, I don't know what to do for you. Like, Happy Death Day's not out yet.
I can't think of anything. Is that PG-13?
That's PG-13.
Is it really?
There's no violence in that.
I didn't remember that.
I
thought there was language and shit though.
No, it's real tame.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember that. Oh, by the way, we haven't talked about this on the omnibus. Maybe I'll try to bring it up next time. I just forgot to write it down.
That sequel doesn't look great.
I'm disappointed with the premise of that sequel.
Yeah.
I want to be excited. We really like that movie.
It looks lazy. It really looks like, what do we do? How do we make a sequel?
It hurts my feelings, though, because I really liked that movie.
And the director of that movie said the thing that I'm now going to just take as dangerous for a sequel. If a director says this, I'm like, oh shit, you didn't know what to do. Which is, this is now the cardinal sin to say if you're being interviewed for making a sequel. Well, I looked at all the good sequels, and what the good sequels do is they expand the universe.
Oh, that's a mistake.
If they said that, it's not going to be... Matthew Vaughn said that with Kingsman 2, and I like Kingsman 2 more than a lot of people, but I think he made some major missteps that just start at that place.
I don't need an explanation.
No, that's what we're getting.
I don't... No,
we're going to expand that universe.
It could be great, but it probably is not great. One thing...
That doesn't seem like a team that, like, makes... that like, looking at that first movie, like, all of its strengths are not anything like that.
It's not mythology.
It's not mythology.
Yeah, but I will give them, at least it's the same writer from the first movie. At least it's not like somebody else coming in.
That's what you said. I thought it said written and directed by the same person. When I saw the credit pop up, I thought I saw written and directed by so-and-so.
I mean, Scott Lobdell's in there.
That's what you said. I didn't see his name. I saw written and directed by so-and-so. It could be like based on the story by Scott.
I'll go back and look at it. I thought it said written by Scott Lobdell, but...
You might be right.
I don't know, it's like, and that doesn't always mean it's going to be good, but like, if the same people that seem pretty passionate about the project the first time are writing the second one, you have a better shot at it being good.
Also, the title sucks.
I think. Yeah, I don't like that either.
To you.
I didn't mean to get on a soapbox on that, but...
No.
But it's disappointing, because...
Happy Death Day 2 poster calls back to first movie.
What a headline.
Yeah.
What a riveting headline.
It's written by the director, based on characters by Scott Lundell.
Oh, okay. I just saw his name real briefly.
Director made Disturbia, Paranormal Activity, sorry, not Paranormal Activity, Paranormal Activity 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Well, I can't wait. It's going to be great.
I assume he made the first movie as well.
Eric, I love headlines like this. I saw this the other day. I can't remember what the movie was.
He did direct Happy Death Day. Scott Lundell's not involved.
I can't remember.
He's catching
starving comedian Scott Lundell.
Starving comedian Scott Lundell. I saw him and Nisi Azer were writing something. Like I saw like a solicitation for like a DC book. I was like,
that'll be great.
Yeah, it'll be wonderful.
So I can't remember what the movie was, but I love headlines like this. The other day I saw a headline that was like, just after the release of the trailer, here's the poster. I'm like, riveting. You know, like, I saw the trailer. Yep, that's an image from the trailer.
Yeah.
Like, great. You know,
I also
so
love
excited.
it when they're trying to, like, excite you, but also be respectful, where it's like, reveals great mystery, like, new trailer reveals great mysteries. Or, like, something like that, where I'm like, you're trying real hard to, like, entice me, but also not tell me too much, so I'm not angry at you.
That's better than irritating clickbait, I guess.
That's true.
I
mean, irritating clickbait's also... They do things like that, too.
So, I got a couple other things on this list I could do. I'll do one real quick.
Okay.
Because I want to do this one because it's related to something that we were talking about earlier. So, you said you don't like Nightmare being all up in the middle of your Halloween grill.
Mm-hmm.
Do you...
Those are not my words.
Do you... Yeah.
It was the spirit, but it was not the statement.
I didn't say it was a direct quote. I never said that.
This.
I just said, you said that. I didn't say, to quote Eric Holden, fucking Bingham.
I said.
That's true.
Anyways.
So, to paraphrase Eric, Night Before Christmas is getting all up in his Halloween grill.
I was thinking it's also tied to the fucking Christmas starting like 6 months before Christmas thing.
No, it absolutely is. That's true. But maybe that's the strategy. But do you think? Because I've met people like this that are so.
That's a bullshit stealth strategy for selling Christmas shit. But like, it's not Christmas yet, so we'll sell Nightmare Before Christmas.
There's a skeleton wearing a Santa hat. Do you? I met people like this that are big horror fans that are huge into Halloween that are offended nearly by people enjoying Halloween with anything other than scary things. Do you think Halloween should only be about scary things?
Like what kind of other things?
Like, does it bother you when kids don't wear scary costumes? Like, do you need children to not be superheroes on Halloween?
No,
because I've met these people, and I've also met people that get annoyed if you watch like a comedy horror film on Halloween. Like, it's got to be scary. It's got to be like.
Oh no, I don't have that at all. I mean, part of that is my connection to the monster thing as opposed to the horror thing. We're like no, if you want to watch Young Frankenstein on Halloween, we'll watch Young Frankenstein. It's great. It's a great monster movie. It's black and white. It's got
10 years. I should watch that again.
That's wonderful.
It's been a long time.
I think I have a copy.
It's a great film.
It's a wonderful movie. No, I don't have that. For me, because for me, Halloween is so much more atmospheric than it is about like actually being scared.
That's what I have. Yeah, absolutely.
No, it's about the tone of it. Now, if you watch, whatchamacallit, fucking what's that movie?
I feel like that should be the name of the show.
That was like the second.
The new name of After Dark should be What the fuck
is that movie you hate? The one that you hate. Hocus Pocus. Now, if you watch Hocus Pocus on Halloween, you're just a trash human being, and you should kill yourself, obviously. Because that movie is just
truer words than never spoken.
Look, I don't hate that movie, but I have a very similar thing to that movie that I do with Christmas Story, which you also hate.
I don't hate Christmas Story.
You just mean-spirited.
And I don't understand the obsession with it.
Well, here's the thing.
Every fucking person's got to watch that goddamn movie.
Yeah, here's the thing.
Okay.
Because these movies have this thing in common, which is neither of them were big performers, and they were like sleeper hits that slowly grew, but they've grown out of control. Like when I was a kid, I didn't know any other kids that were watching Christmas Story. Like that was kind of a thing that like we had like recorded on a VHS tape, and like when I brought it up, people didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. Some of the adults did, like other kids didn't know what it was. And I've heard a lot of people talk about this. Where like there was kind of like a special thing about that because like people didn't know what it was. That was a real, genuine cult classic that somehow, over like a decade, transmutated into the 24-hour cycle. Like
the same thing happened with It's a Wonderful Life. The difference is that movie is one of the greatest films ever made.
Yeah. Well, but that was also, like, that was just a complete failure. Like, I don't think anybody had seen that in, like, 30 years. Like,
right.
Like, this kind of, like, was like a grassroots thing.
And it was shown on TV and suddenly it got popular.
Yeah, this was like a grassroots thing. I think Hocus Pocus is the same way, where I think most of us just kind of, like, fucking, like, saw it on the Disney Channel or whatever, right? And, like, everyone grew up, but, like, and, like, my kid has to see this movie. The first year I started working at my job, just, like, it was like a joke, where, like, people would call up, like, I think you've probably never heard of this, but do you have this movie called Hocus Pocus? I'm like, yeah, we have 6 million copies. You're not fucking special. Yeah, go to Walmart. They've got it too. Everyone has
in the $5 bin.
Yeah,
and
it'll be the day after Halloween, but before that, it's $20.
No, I think that movie's terrible. I don't understand.
I think it's terrible.
I don't understand. I think it's absolutely horrid. But what I don't understand about that movie,
Zombie Man.
What I don't understand about that movie, or about what you're saying, is like, no, everyone I know has seen that movie.
Yeah, but I think it became that way, right? Like I don't think it starts that. It doesn't. It's like when it comes out in like 1993 or whatever. It doesn't start that way.
Maybe not, but like if you're my age, you know about that movie. It's just weird that people would call you up and be like, I don't know if you've heard of this. Like,
I think everyone thinks they're fucking
special. Is it younger people?
I think they all no. I think they all think they're special. I think they all think they have an undiscovered gem. And I hate things where people all think they have an undiscovered gem.
Yeah. No, that's totally fair.
It's like people that stop and explain that they're quoting Princess Bride to you. Yeah, we all fucking know.
No, that's like the film equivalent of, like, or the, like, discovery of, like, bringing in, like, a Death of Superman and expecting to get money for it, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's that kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, like, there are things that have, like, where, like, it's amorphous and weird. Like, at this point, I don't really know where The Room gets you. 15 years ago, The Room was a real obscure movie, and, like, it was this really cool thing to show people. I don't know about that now.
Well, and we made a popular movie.
We made a really popular movie about it. And so, like, it's not... in Red Letter Media's video for that, they're like, so The Room's done, right? Like we're done with The Room now. Like we made the movie about the making of the movie. Like,
that's
we're
my
done
prediction. I don't think there's any reason to keep watching that movie at this point.
No. And there isn't really after you've read the book. Like, once you've read the book, you watch the movie again, you're like, that's all the things they were talking about. And maybe you watch it, it's something to show to other people, but, like, at this point, I think everyone that's gonna see that movie has seen that movie.
Yeah, probably so.
But no, Hocus Pocus is not a movie for adults, and it kind of bothers me that adults watch it. For Halloween...
all kinds of people could say that about other things that we like, right? Like, what are you guys doing watching Power Rangers, right? Like,
it's not the same thing.
It's not?
No, because I think, like, we don't watch Power Rangers in lieu of, like, a genuine, I don't even know experience. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like people, like...
You're saying there are better things to watch than Hocus Pocus?
Yeah. Monster Squad should have the popularity of Hocus Pocus, but, like, Hocus Pocus is very much a children's film, and where I'm just like, I don't know why you would watch that. Like, I guess it's because it's nostalgic and you always do. I don't know. I have an issue with that.
That strikes me as like, and maybe I'm wrong about this. Maybe this movie is more popular than I'm thinking of it. That's like if Matilda was a phenomenon. Like,
yeah, and like, I also don't like that movie.
I don't like that movie either.
I think that movie's real, like, weird, like, it makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Cynical. I can't, like, the kid with the cake. I'll never watch it again. I can't deal with it.
No, when I was a kid, I was like, yeah, but all adults aren't assholes. Like,
I felt like I was being tortured by watching that movie.
My mom loved that movie.
Like,
my sister loved that movie too.
My mom or someone, or maybe my stepmom, I forget. Maybe, but like somebody went to the video store and rented that, and I wondered if I was in trouble while I was watching that movie. Like,
I don't like Roald Dahl's whole thing of like, you're either an adult that's childlike at heart or you're a monster. There is no in between in Roald Dahl's view of the
Giant
world.
Peach has the same thing.
So does Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
It does.
You're a childlike adult or you are a monster. There is no in between. You have lost your humanity. You may as well not exist.
That's true, but I like the social commentary in that.
Yeah.
In a way that I don't appreciate it in this other word.
No, I agree. It's done better there, but it's in everything. Like, it's in all of
If that was the only thing that did it.
Yeah.
Especially because, as you say, it's done better there.
Yeah. But not, But yeah, no,
I love where you took this topic.
But nah, like, fuck Hocus Pocus.
This
like,
was a
fuck.
wonderful rabbit hole. This started from not cool people watching other things to why do you act like Hocus Pocus is a thing no one knows?
Hocus Pocus is the thing that you pull out where, I watched a bunch of, I watched this thing from when I was a kid. That's what it should be. Like, it should be,
sure.
It should be a
if you have
thing.
nostalgia for it, whatever.
Yeah, it should be a
I didn't
thing.
like it when it came out, is the thing.
It should be a thing in the pot with everything else. It should not be the end-all, be-all Halloween movie. That should be Monster Squad, but...
Yeah, these might be fighting words to you, but I know that the reason you go back to the movie I'm about to mention is precisely what you're talking about. Like, it was a childhood thing that you watched. It's the Halloween equivalent of that Christmas movie with Schwarzenegger and Sinbad that you go back
Jingle All the Way, which is an
the
amazing film.
But it's the Halloween version of that.
No, it's not. That movie's got Sinbad.
But they're both fucking horrible.
No, it's not. That movie has Sinbad.
The scariest thing in the world would be if Sinbad got another TV show.
I would watch it every day. Like, Sinbad's great. I love Sinbad. Sinbad's such an asshole in that movie.
We've got to go back to Freakazoid at some point. We watched 2 episodes of that. It was almost too much for us. We were like, this show is weirder than we remember.
No, Jingle All the Way. Well, there is a thing with holiday movies, I think, in general. There are very few good holiday movies. Most of them, if you watch later in life, like...
You can maybe say that about Halloween movies, but maybe there's more decent
ones. Horror movies, just in general, I guess, are different. But, like, you can't watch the Rankin Bass movies if you didn't grow up with them. They're all bad.
I'm sorry, what is that?
The claymation, like, Santa Claus Come to Town.
Yes, yeah, of course.
You can't watch...
Of course.
You couldn't be first introduced to those at 20.
No, you have to grow up with those.
You have to grow up with them.
No,
I think
fair.
most holiday movies, most Christmas movies...
You know what my favorite one is?
Particular.
Have we had this conversation?
Is it Year Without Santa Claus with the Heat Mice and Snow Mice?
It's not even a Christmas one.
No?
It's the Easter one.
Easter Bunny Come to Town, or is it the Pure Cottontail? With the Iron
No,
Tail?
the Easter Bunny one.
Okay. That one's, like, weirdly elusive to me, because I had it as a kid on tape, but, like, we never re-got it on DVDs. Like, I haven't seen that in, like, 20 years.
But, like, it's a nostalgia thing. I don't know. I don't know if it's any better than any of the other ones. It's just I watched
a lot of those got beat out of me because I had younger siblings. I don't have to go back to them. I mean, I still love Snow Miser or whatever, but I think it's weird that Heat Miser and Snow Miser is...
out again at some point just because of memories and shit, you know?
I do want to see the one... There's one that I want to see... Where it's like Rudolph and something. I don't know. There's one that I never watched because I just, even as a kid, I was like, well, that sounds ridiculous. But apparently it's like the Avengers of the Rankin Bass. Like they pull the continuity of like everything.
Yes.
Together. Yeah, I want to watch that one. I also enjoy Mad Monster Party. Which was their only attempt at like a horror thing.
Oh, I don't know.
Not horror, but like a Halloween. It's all the monsters get together and have a party. It's not great, but it's fine. It's way more adult than you would think it was. There's a point where a woman gets her clothes like ripped off and she's just in like a bra and panties. Like they made her like a sexy doll. It's
weird.
I don't know why they decided like this is gonna be our one where like we kind of go for the adult audience, but like that's kind of what that was.
My wife hates the Island of Misfit Toys.
Just as a concept.
I don't know. She just doesn't.
Because she has no empathy, right?
My wife has no empathy. That's true.
She's like, why are they sad?
Look, why do you have to air out all my dirty laundry on After Dark, okay? Yes, okay, look, for the record, for the 100 of you guys that might be watching this, my wife has no empathy. It's a problem.
But no, I think most holiday films are terrible. Have you ever actually sat down and watched Great Pumpkin?
Yeah, but I mean, it's been a million years.
Go back to it.
You always say that.
I'm convinced it's his statement about religion. I think it's brilliant.
Okay, all right. Well, we're trying to watch it this year.
That's a whole movie about a dude coming up with a new religion. Everyone's saying he's dumb, but he doesn't understand why it's dumb because everyone else believes in dumb things. No, it's a brilliant commentary on religion. I
mean, I probably haven't seen that since I was 10 years old.
You should go back to it. It's like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I should probably watch that Garfield one soon. I have like weird things I just watch like just for me. I have a lot of them for Christmas, but the Garfield one I try and watch. I always watch the Garfield Christmas one, but the Garfield Halloween one I saw on TV, like I actually have a nostalgic connection to more so than the Christmas one, where like the Christmas one was kind of like around when I was growing up. I think you have less nostalgic connection to something that's like always there.
Of course.
Well, like I get the DVD or whatever when I'm a little bit younger. Not like younger, but like I've had it for like a decade now. The Halloween one,
time away from the thing.
Yeah, the Halloween one I saw like once on Halloween and remembered it being scary, and then I rewatched it a year or two ago, and I was like, no, this is legitimately kind of fucking, like... It starts like a Garfield thing where he's like, I'm gonna go get candy, and then there's like a house, and where like he's like trapped in a house, and it's like haunted by like an ancient like sailor ghost.
Weird.
Like, yeah, nah, it legitimately goes
creepy.
tries to go to some scary places. It's good. It's good kids Halloween special.
Yeah, if I really wanted to scare my younger self at Halloween, I would watch The Brave Little Toaster.
Have you gone back to it?
It still freaks me the fuck out.
Okay, because I've heard people go back to it and they're like, yeah, it doesn't. Like I've heard, much like Neverending Story, I've heard a couple of people be like, yeah, don't go back to it.
Neverending Story doesn't hold up great. I still have enough of a nostalgic connection to that. I like to go back to it some. I showed my kids that a couple months ago.
Oh,
but I finally bought a copy. I didn't have a copy.
Did Freddie laugh on the horse when the horse was stuck in the muck and the sadness fucking like slowly died? Did he laugh?
I think he did.
If
memory serves, I'm pretty sure. Freddie laughs.
Isn't that funny?
He says that.
I know.
Isn't that funny? I'm like, no. That's not funny. That's horrifying.
I want to believe he watched that horse die, and he just said, "Isn't that funny?"
He's my wife's son. She has no empathy. And the thing is, we talk all the time about how Freddie is more like Sarah and Jason's more like me. Yeah, well, of course, Freddie laughs at everyone's misfortune. Not that my wife laughs at people's misfortune, but maybe 3-year-old my wife did. I wonder about that now. I wonder if she was watching Looney Tunes cartoons and only laughing at the parts where people get flattened or set on fire or, yeah, that's
They're not
Freddie.
really funny parts, but...
No, they are, but that's all he laughed. That's what he laughs at.
What was the one they laughed at where you were like, you didn't laugh at anything, and then everybody started like laughing at this person? There was something where you're like so the entire thing goes by, he doesn't laugh at all, and everyone just points and laughs at this one person because they. Oh, there's the Powerpuff Girls episode where she gets glasses. That's
what it is. I'm glad you remember that. Yeah, it's what about the giant ant? It's Bubblevision, and he's watching this episode, and he only laughs at the parts where the other Powerpuff Girls are laughing at Bubbles for having silly glasses. Like they just keep pointing and laughing. And it never, every time. If they're laughing, he's laughing. Yeah, Freddy's either great or he's horrifying. Like, I don't know yet. I'm just kidding.
I'm still not convinced that he's not being sarcastic like all the time.
I think he is. Yeah. No, I think he's just constantly fucking with people.
Well, like, what I was actually talking about Freddy the other day to a customer who was telling me like that her kid or her niece or something always like tells her like really nice things, like congratulates her, like oh, like you opened that jar, like way to go. I'm like, yeah, no kid does that too, but I think he's always making fun of me. He was like, way to go, you read a book. And I'm like, well, thanks.
Freddy, we should bring this up because we're talking about Halloween. Last year, Freddy would go up to people wearing Halloween costumes, and he would just go, "Are you being Batman?"
My favorite was the one who was a cowboy, where he went up to him and said, "Are you being a hat?"
Are you being a hat? He's a little older now, so he's probably not going to do that as much, but...
That was when we went to the thing at Sarah's work.
Yeah, which is this Friday. Like, where did all this time go?
And he
doing it again this Friday.
He scared the shit out of that kid that was Ash. You remember that? Because he was Pikachu?
Yes!
And he just, like, stalked that Ash kid, and that Ash kid was scared.
What? I'm Pikachu! I go in your Pokeball!
Yeah.
No, Freddy's great. We should get him on camera more. But Freddy doesn't... Freddy feels like he's, like, having to perform. If you, like, put him on camera and you try to do stuff. No. And so he'll just shut down, you know? So...
Freddy's the kid where
I don't know if you guys ever get to see some of the fun things Freddy does, but...
And he's like, no.
He'd be like, no, I'm not doing that. Yeah. And he doesn't like to do karaoke. We do karaoke frequently. He won't do it. He won't sing. But if no one's around, he'll sing. Like, it's not like he doesn't like to sing. He just doesn't want anybody to hear him do it.
Mm.
Jason's like a performer. He like gets in front of people and does stuff. But what's interesting is, and I'm just psychoanalyzing my children, Jason likes to perform in front of people, but sometimes one-on-one he'll shut down a little bit. Like, he's not as social as Freddy.
Mm.
Freddy, with other people, like, he's polite, he's friendly, and he says hi to everybody he passes by. Jason, I have to, at 8 years old, like, Freddy's 3, Jason's 8, I have to remind him when somebody in public that he doesn't know says something to him to, like, acknowledge them sometimes. Freddy, I never have to do that.
Mm.
He's 5 years younger.
Mm.
but he doesn't want to be on stage or anything. It's interesting.
Well, I mean, Jason has like that streak of like he kind of wants attention, in the larger sense than like one-on-one. But I guess one-on-one too. Freddy doesn't.
People he's already comfortable
Freddy
with.
doesn't give a shit.
He doesn't care what anybody thinks of him.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
No, I think it's hard to compare your 8-year-old to your 3-year-old, but at least right now, I think, and Freddy's like, I mean, he's more than, he's almost 4. I mean, he turns 4 next month.
Mm.
But Freddy, is, I forget where I was going with that. Like right now, he seems more confident than Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if that'll change.
For a while, he was bullying Jason. It was hilarious.
Yeah, and Jason used to bully Brandon. I don't know what Freddy's gonna be like when he gets older.
I mean, he'll bully Brandon.
You think so? You think he'll bully Brandon? Is that gonna be a thing?
Yeah. I warn people before they meet Brandon. I'm like, look, you're gonna want to make fun of him, and you can a little bit, but not too much.
We didn't say that though. We did not tell you guys about that.
No, we didn't tell you that.
That did not happen. Well, anyway, everybody, thanks as always for watching Geekvolution After Dark. Are you good?
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
I'm good.
Hope you guys enjoyed our Halloween-themed Geekvolution After Dark. We certainly did. And we will see you again in a couple weeks with another one. We'll talk about all kinds of random things that you may or may not hear on the camera, that you may not hear on Geekvolution proper. And even if it is something that you would usually hear, we might go off on a crazy tangent and talk about things we wouldn't usually talk about, like my children, or...
Yeah.
The Brave Little Toaster. I would be interested to see you go back to that movie and see what you think of it. But you've never even seen it?
I saw the second one. I saw Brave Little Toaster Goes to Mars.
How did I not know about this?
I don't know.
But, like, this is the most obvious made you watch.
Yeah, but I assume that I won't like it because I didn't grow up with it. That's why I've never gone back. That's why I've never gone to it. Or gone back to it.
But it's fascinating and it's bizarre. No, it's not good.
Sure.
But it is... I mean, it was like a game changer for me as a child. Like, that's a really important movie for me. I don't like it anymore, but, like, it's a really important movie for me. I may make you watch that at some point, just because it's history. It's really interesting. And John Lovitz has a good performance in that, and, like, I don't know.
I mean, there's fun stuff in Pagemaster. I never make watch Pagemaster.
I mean, I've seen that. I own that movie for some reason.
It's not good.
No, it's not. You know, Sarah and I went back to it too, and we were like, oh. It was a big letdown. It's
also, like, really weird that it's like, it's a movie about loving books. Also, the moral of that movie makes no fucking sense. So...
But wait, go back for a minute. Why is that weird?
Because... I don't know, it's just...
I thought you were going somewhere with that, and then you were about to change the topic, but like, why is that weird? It's a movie about loving books. Why can't you do that?
I don't know. It's just weird.
Because it's a movie?
It's weird that it's like a movie that's like anti-movies, I think.
Oh, is it anti-movies?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe. What's weird about that is that kid is a fucking nerd and clearly reads all the time, and like he has no confidence, and he goes to the library for like 6 seconds, and he's like, oh, I read Treasure Island, now I have confidence. I'm like, you read books before, don't you lie to me. I guess it's just fiction. He just learned about fiction.
What is he, the kid from Neverending Story? Like, well, anyway, thanks again for watching, folks. We sure appreciate it, and we'll see you again in a couple weeks. I am Captain Logan.
I'm Mark.